From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the News Blast for April 2nd, 2025. LGBTQ Nation is reporting that Florida state Republican lawmakers have advanced a bill that would allow public employees and state contractors to openly discriminate against LGBTQ plus coworkers without fear of punishment. The so-called Freedom of Conscience in the Workplace Act, or Senate Bill 440, would forbid public employers from requiring workers to use transgender people's personal pronouns and forbid employers from punishing any employee for expressing, quote, a belief in traditional or biblical views of sexuality and marriage or gender ideology. The legislation would also remove non-binary gender options from employment forms and forbid any entities from requiring workers to undergo LGBTQ plus cultural competence training. The bill would not apply to private employers. The bill really does promote government employees and contractors to harass transgender individuals by allowing them to intentionally misgender them by using disrespectful pronouns and having no consequences, Florida State Senator Kristen Arrington said to The Advocate. And this is a license to discriminate free from accountability. The Senate Government Oversight and Accountability Committee initially declined to vote on the bill last week after receiving hundreds of comment cards opposing it. However, the committee ultimately voted 5-2 along party lines to advance it. It now heads to the state's Senate Judiciary Committee for consideration. Florida resident Claudia Thomas, the first out gay commissioner of Sanford City, said the bill insults the LGBTQ plus community, like her, and wastes government resources, according to Florida Politics. I would love to get back to trying to solve my city's problems about water, clean water, that is, housing, etc., Thomas said. And if I have to start wasting my time talking about pronouns and people not respecting my friends, it would make me sad. The bill is just one of several anti-LGBTQ plus bills currently being considered by state legislators, according to the statewide LGBTQ plus advocacy organization Equality Florida. One bill would ban local governments from enacting diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, including any recognition of Pride Month, by defunding these initiatives and removing local officials who promote them. Another would prohibit any taxpayer funds from supporting DEI initiatives in state agencies, among state contractors or grantees. Yet another bill would ban pride flags on government property, and another would restrict the ability of people under the age of 18 to seek reproductive health care without parental consent. However, Democratic lawmakers have also introduced legislation that would formally repeal the state's ban on same-sex marriage, repeal the so-called Don't Say Gay law, which forbids instruction on LGBTQ plus issues in K-12 schools, eliminate so-called LGBTQ plus panic defenses in queer-bashing criminal cases, and restore parents' rights to access gender-affirming care for trans kids. We cannot stress enough that if you are planning on moving to Florida or Texas, don't. Just do not do it. Avoid traveling there if possible. There are other organizations that have already issued not just travel advisories or travel warnings. They are telling people flat out, do not travel to Florida and don't travel to Texas. They are far too dangerous for the LGBTQ plus community. If you're watching our news program on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and subscribe to the PEP Radio channel. That's the News Blast, and now time for the National Weather Service forecast for the Meadville area here on PEP Radio.